I doing wrong? I work every day and I'm still broke. Like, I have a decent job. I make some decent money, but I live out here in Cali. Like, bro, as soon as I get paid, I have all these bills stacked up, bro, that shit wipes me clean. Like, fuck, I got no money left over. Making $100,000 a year doesn't get you anywhere nowadays. And then moving to Houston, moving to Texas, any other type of state, guys, like, fuck that. I'm not gonna fucking move there. There's gotta be a better way for me to make more fucking money, or the things that cost so much money need to go fucking down. One or the other.
So we're talking about living in America right now. We're talking about your average American. We're talking about blue collar Americans that go out and work every day, 50, 60, 70 hours a week, and still can't survive in America, one of the richest countries in the world. So it seems like that either you have or you have not. The rich is getting richer and the poor is staying poor or getting poor. It makes no sense for a person to have to work that many hours and you still can't survive in one of the richest countries in the world. So let's continue.
Living in America right now feels like a punishment. You wake up already behind, you go to work just to stay broke, and you watch the cost of everything rise while your paycheck doesn't move an inch. Groceries are a luxury, rent is robbery, healthcare is a joke, and somehow we're the ones blamed for not budgeting better. People are working 2-3 jobs and still choosing between food or gas. Families are crammed into apartments because buying a house became a fantasy. You can't afford to get sick. You can't afford to rest. You can't afford to exist. But they keep telling us the economy is strong. Strong for who? Because it sure as hell isn't the people doing the work. We're out here treading water while billionaires build rockets, politicians trade stocks, and corporations raise prices just because they can. We were promised opportunity. We got survival. And what makes this worse is watching people blame themselves. Like somehow you failed because you can't afford a 1-bedroom anymore. Like you didn't do enough when the truth is the math just stopped adding up years ago. They told us to work harder, but never told us they'd change the finish line. This isn't a country full of lazy people. It's a country full of exhausted ones. Simple as that.
I am so tired of living my life in survival mode because despite having 2 college degrees and making close to $80,000 a year, I still cannot keep up with the cost of living. I still cannot afford all of my bills every month and have to live paycheck to paycheck. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. I am sacrificing my mental health, my time, and my energy to take care of people in their most vulnerable moments, and a lot of the time they do not make it. At the very least, I should be able to pay my bills. And for anyone who's thinking, oh, well, you shouldn't have chose that job, somebody has to do it. And you know damn well if your loved one was critically ill, you would want somebody to take care of them, right? Something has to give. I cannot keep doing this.
Bro, how are people making it? If you making $30 an hour, it's weird to ask that, but how are you making it? After you pay your rent, $1,500 a month, that's on the low side. Car note, $500 a month. Phone bill, $100 a month. Insurance, gas, food, electricity, health insurance, all these day-to-day expenses. How are people making it? You do the math and you come back and tell me what the numbers look like for you. Because a person can make $30 an hour and is going to struggle. I can only imagine making $15 an hour. You cannot live on that. No, you cannot. You cannot convince me otherwise. You cannot live on $15 or $30 an hour, or you're gonna stay broke. Convince me different.
My thing is, I just want peace, and I honestly don't feel like I can find that in America. Just seeing what life is like in all of these different countries just makes me want to leave. It puts me in a state of realization that living in America, everything is just a race and everything is a fight for survival. You got jobs out here that's just downright not paying you enough, nor trying to give you the hours that you need to support yourself. On top of the cost of living going up, on average, apartment is $1,400, and don't even get me started on the food.
The food is literally poison. The water is literally poison. Everything is unfit for consumption. So you trying to work us to death, make us go homeless, and poison us? And on top of that, we got to pay you half of our money? In other countries, this type of thing doesn't even exist. Yeah, some people will say, oh, well, you'll have to face racism if you go to these other countries. And that's no different than what I have to go through here. At least they're more welcoming. It's not fair.
How do y'all enjoy your weekends when you're broke? Am I the only one saying this? But like, you ever work all week, you realize you ain't got no money, then the weekend rolls around, and you think to yourself, I can't enjoy it because I got no money to do nothing. I remember in the summertime, one time I was like, getting ready to go get gas to mow my lawn, and I realized I was broke and had to like take money off my overdraft, my checking account, just to buy fuel for my lawnmower. And I'm watching all my neighbors with like RVs and like, you know, got trampolines in their back lawns, and they got four-wheelers and all these things that like luxuries that I can't buy, and it doesn't really bother me, but because I don't really care about luxuries in life. But I'm like, I just want to be able to enjoy my weekend and feel like I got a few extra dollars, or like when I'm mowing my lawn, I want to take pride in that. But I can't explain the feeling that you get when you're broke on a weekend. You just almost feel guilty for enjoying yourself. Does anybody know what I'm talking about?
You know how everyone's telling us, like, you just need therapy, like, you're depressed, and it's like, no, we're broke. Because why is everything so fucking expensive? Like, I moved to a different city. My auto insurance went up like $20. I don't know why. I called them and I was like, why did this go up? And she was trying to figure it out, and I was like, I also need to update my address because I just moved. And she goes, okay, with your address updated, you live in a higher risk area now. Surprise. So she said it's going up $120 a month. I was going to figure out why it went up $20, and then she made it go up more. And I said, please don't do that, I can't afford it. And she said, I can't change it. And we're not depressed, we're broke. We're broke.
And then yesterday I thought about it. I was like, damn, it really sucks to be in America, because it's like you can't even take a break from being burnt out, overworked here. Because if you take a break from being burnt out, overworked, you're going to fall behind on bills. Because literally, it's like the system makes it so that you have to work those 40 hours at least a week to keep up. You have to work all 4 weeks out of the month to keep up. So God forbid you take a little week vacation. Guess what? Now you're going to be set back. You're only getting a week, one paycheck and a half worth of money that month. And if you're only making enough to pay your bills, you're going to be behind just because you want to take a little break, just because you want to take a few days off work. It's crazy. Like, this system is pretty much a trap. If you think about it, that's a trap. Like, you have no way out. You damned if you and damned if you don't. If you do and you keep pushing, guess what? You're gonna get burnt out. That's why everybody's so damn antsy. That's why so many damn traffic accidents and bullshit, because people are overwhelmed, people are burnt out, they're tired, they're irritable, they're angry, they're not taking care of themselves, and they don't have the space to. That's why all of this shit is going on. It's a trap. You can't afford to take off work without having to work just as hard when you come back. That's the thing. Even if you did, now when you come back to work from your week off vacation, you gotta work twice as hard. You gotta make up for that week that you lost out. Like, this shit is crazy. Like, most of us are living literally one paycheck away from being homeless. This is literally insanity. And it's like, what the fuck do we do about it? Besides complain, besides be upset, besides, like, what do we do?
There's multiple generations of Americans who can't afford to buy a house, who can't afford to go to college, who can't afford to have children. We own nothing. We can't build anything. We can't create anything. We can't own anything. And now there's going to be nobody to pass it all on to. When millions of people feel locked out of the American dream, you're going to see a breakdown of civic engagement. Like, why vote if the system is rigged? Why pay taxes if none of that money is going to help any of us retire? It's not going to our infrastructure. It's not benefiting any of us. Look at Japan. Look at China. They've been investing their tax-paying money into their citizens for decades. If you go to travel in any of those countries, you're going to feel like you're living in 2050, but you're not. We're living in 1970 back here. to all the boomers out there who voted for this stuff, there's going to be nobody to take care of you. Because those of us in our 20s and 30s, we're not having kids. For what? When people have nothing to lose, they stop playing by the rules. So either give us something that we can lose, give us something to fight for, or it's not going to go very well. Long term, things are not going to get better if they don't break and stop voting against what's good for us. If the powers that be don't wake up and realize you have to give us something, because if we have nothing, it's not going to go well for you. And those of you who've been voting for this, stop.
The cost of living in this country is currently, it's not going to be, it is currently unsustainable. And there are people that they know this, but then they'll still look at somebody else that's struggling and then tell them they're not doing good enough. I want you to imagine somebody that makes $75,000 a year. That's a pretty high up wage in terms of like top earners in this country, $75,000 a year. And we're going to go through some things here. This is a person with no debt outside of a car. And please don't hit me with the, you can go buy a car for, shut up, you can't, shut up, stop saying ridiculous things. An entry-level decent car is $30,000. So this person who puts $200 a month into insurance and they pay 5% into their 401k because shut up, people should be able to put money into their retirement. Because if you're not doing it now, you're never going to get to start doing it later. So after those two things come out of their paycheck and their taxes are paid, they bring home $53,850 a year from a $75,000 paycheck. Average rent in my state for a one-bedroom apartment, because an adult should be able to live by themselves, $1,700. That car payment at 6% for an entry-level, very reasonable sedan, nothing fancy, that car payment's $579 a month. Car insurance, $240 or so a month for a lot of vehicles in this day and age. You're a young person, you've got a nice job, but the insurance companies still want to screw you over. Food. You only cook at home. You never, ever go out. You only cook at home and you only eat decent quality food because a human being should be allowed to eat decent quality food. You pay $879 a month for that. You spend $250 a month in gas. You wear and tear on your car $100 a month. $80 for your phone, $80 for your internet, $175 a month for your electricity, $70 for your water, $20 for your cash. You make $75,000 a year, and outside of a car payment, you have zero debt. Do you know how much money you have left over annually at a $75,000 wage? You do nothing. You don't own a Netflix. You don't go out on a date. You don't pay to go to a park. You don't go watch a movie. You do nothing. If you can't find it on the internet for free, you don't get to do it. If you can't cook it at home for your $800, you don't get to do it. You have $3,700 left over annually. That's like $320 a month. And there's going to be, well, that's $300. Shut up. Shut your stupid, contrarian, edgelord mouth. That's not a doctor bill, because God knows just because we have insurance doesn't mean that we don't still pay far out the ass when we go to the doctors. People like to be entertained. They want to date. They want to... There's those of you out there that will tell somebody living like this on $75,000 a year before taxes that they are not doing what they're supposed to do, that they should get a second job, that they should get a side hustle, that they should get a better job. And the fact that you would look at somebody with no debt other than a car and say something like this to them means objectively you're a moron and you live in a fantasy world. This is unsustainable.